But we're talking about milk. And right before we got onto the top of the hour, Joseph was telling us, no, not Joseph, the guy who was going to milk the cow.
Yeah, Angelina.
15 liters from one cow.
Can you imagine?
Bruh, that cow is being overworked.
Yeah, and the cow will get milked again probably this evening or kesho in the morning. And I think, it's good. Yeah,
But
let the cow give us milk this morning.
Reality for a lot of Kenyans, you don't think about where the milk is coming from. You just open the fridge or you go to the shopkeeper, you pick that packet of milk, but you don't think about milk safety. You don't think about all that because you are assured that there are authorities that are handling that. And we're so privileged this morning to have a PS Livestock, Jonathan Mueke, to speak to us about milk safety. Karibu sana.
Asante sana kwa box.
So what milk safety? Why are we having this conversation?
This conversation has been ongoing. It's just one of the ways that we create awareness to ensure that our consumers, the citizen, always consumes safe milk. Safe milk is important for us. For children, it provides calcium that strengthens the bones and the teeth and helps the growth of the kids. It also has potassium that really gives you the muscle strength. And milk generally is good for our health. So it is very important that the milk that we consume is safe for human consumption and doesn't pass diseases onto our citizens.
And so how are we making this possible? How are we collaborating with the dairy farmers, the processors, the retailers to ensure that the milk out there is safe? Because people say Google is not your friend. I've just tried to Google to see the bad things that could be in milk. And I'm happy that you're here to just help us and tell us how we're making it work.
Yeah, a lot of awareness, a lot of capacity building. We have an organization called the Kenya Dairy Board, which is under the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development. And what we do with the Kenya Dairy Board is we go out to the farms. We have farmer field days where we interact with farmers and we teach them how to produce safe milk. We teach them as they're milking, where possible, they use machines. Where not possible, they ensure that they wash their hands before they milk. That means that ensures that dirt doesn't get into the milk where they're milking. Number two, the containers that they're putting the milk in. We want, where possible, to ensure that they're always clean, wash with water, wash with soap. Every time you remove the milk from the container and you decant it into somewhere else. Where possible, use stainless steel containers, because where you use the plastic containers, sometimes the bacteria from yesterday's milk or the day before yesterday's milk can get stuck in the plastic. And even if you wash, the bacteria still remains and that contaminates the milk. So there's a lot of awareness that we do. Kwamboka, about 35% of our milk makes it to the processors.
35.
The other 65% is hawked by the farmer to their neighbor, straight from the cow, to their local hotel, their local school, their local hospital. And we're really discouraging that. We're telling the farmer, listen, you don't have the means to test your milk when it comes straight from the cow. That's why it's important to sell your milk to the cooperative, to sell your milk to the processor like KCC or Bio or whatever processor that is near you, because they are able to test with milk testing gadgets. They test for aflatoxin, they test for bacteria, they ensure that your milk is not adulterated, has not been added chemicals to ensure that the milk lasts longer, does not have added water, which again dilutes the nutrients of the milk. So we really encourage the farmer not to hawk the milk, pass it through the formal channels.
You know, you've just mentioned something, and like we started, I said, for a lot of us who consume milk, we never think about the process. Si unafungua fridge, unararo your packet, unafungua your container, and you drink the milk, right? Or you make your tea and you move on with life. But there's something you've mentioned. You said from the milking, right? From the how you put it in the container. This is all dependent on the cleanliness of this farmer.
Correct.
Right? No, and Kerry, how many times do we talk about Kenyans don't wash their hands?
A lot of times.
Like even you can be standing at the bathroom like this and just watching people coming out. They don't wash their hands.
Correct.
So it's prudent that we use formal structures.
Yes, because that now creates the checks and balances to ensure that if the farmer has not done the hygiene properly, once they sell it to the processor or their local cooperative, they have milk testing machines. They're called lactometers. And that can be able to check the safety of the milk, and the milk that is not safe then gets rejected. And then the farmer knows, because they're in it for business, that if I don't produce safe milk, it won't be bought. So then they ensure now they can follow the hygienes. And we do a lot of farmer awareness with farmer field days. Kambox, just tomorrow, we are going to do a big farmers field day in Meru with Meru Central Dairy Cooperative, where we're inviting over 20,000 farmers to talk to them about these things. And the guest of honor, actually, who's going to grace the event is none other than His Excellency President Ruto. So we'll talk to the farmers, tell them what to do to ensure that the milk is safe. Something else I'd like to highlight that is transformational in our dairy industry is this government has come up with a new policy where we are moving from quality-based payment, from quantity-based payment, where we traditionally pay the farmer based on the amount of milk that they bring, quantity. And I heard you and Kerry talk about a cow producing 15 liters. So you get 15 times 50 shillings. Right? But we're switching that from quantity-based to quality-based payment, which is now the norm around the world. It's a best practice. And we're telling the farmer, if you give us milk that is of high quality, has high butterfat content, has high protein content, those are used for creating value, high-value milk products, like yogurt, like butter, like cheese, then we'll pay you more. So where you used to get 50 shillings a liter, now you can get 60 shillings a liter for producing quality. So it's an incentive for the farmer. Give us quality milk, you get more money in your pockets.
I love it.
Point of information, 15 liters a day per cow is little.
Oh, for real?
Oh, yeah?
As guys were Nairobians.
It is little.
Which cow do we have?
It is little. If you do the 3 C's, cleanliness, and you make sure there's comfort from the cow, and you do that consistently, as well as feeding the cow properly, you can get 25 to 30 liters a day per cow.
Wow.
It's interesting you said comfort for the cow. I actually know of a farm back home where the cows have got mattresses.
Yes.
And they actually, they sleep in mattresses.
I know a farmer who plays music
For the
in
cow.
his before he milks them. So that, and then those cows are just like,
Yes. You get more milk. When the cow is comfortable, you will get more milk.
I want to take a short break, but I want to ask the listener, right? Because I've heard 35% of the milk makes it to the pasteurization point, right? But the rest of it, 65%, someone will come to you and tanunua maziwa. So I want to ask you, having listened to this, wewe unanunuanga maziwa gani? Ya pakiti yenye mepasteuriziwa ama hiyo yenye mtu amekuletea kwa mlango? Hit us up 0711046100, or you can hit us up on the hashtag Kwambooks and Carry or our WhatsApp line
0702946100. Get on it. Have you had your milk today?
I call her Jamaica's pride and joy, Shensia.
Yeah, man.
I'm telling you, Jamaica has many prides, but I feel like at the moment, it's Shensia.
Shinsia then Chronics. Yeah. Oh, you're still on
A
Shenyang.
distant second.
Yeah, sawa bas.
26 minutes to 9 a.m. You're hanging out with Kwambooks and Carry. And we're joined by PS, a Livestock, Bwana Jonathan Mueke. And we're talking about milk, man. Milk safety. We never think about these things because maziwa nakuja kupackage.
Yeah.
Ama the guy has delivered it to your door. And you trust Mama Nani.
Aki. And before we took the break, we were asking you, like, how do you get your milk? Do you buy the packet or someone brings it to your doorstep? And while on break, I actually asked about milk dispensers, because if you go to a supermarket, nowadays you've got two options, whether you could go and buy the packeted milk, or there's some supermarkets have got milk dispensers where you go on and you go with your kachupa there, alafu wanakuchotea maziwa, and then you go and use the milk to your liking. So, Bwana PS, I'd like to find out, how safe is that milk dispenser? Because Mimi, I'm such a clean freak. Naonanga iyo dispenser, the fact that it sits there and in that supermarket inafungwa bado iko hapo, huwa inasafishwa. Like, how clean is it?
Many people interacting with it.
Yes, that milk dispenser dispenses safe milk, because we have very clear regulations on how the cleanliness on the same, on how to handle the milk. The supermarkets test it also when it comes from the farmers, and they do some sort of processing to ensure that it is safe. But we don't leave it at that. We don't want to take anything by chance or to chance. So what we do as government is we do surveillance.
Okay.
And we do spot checks to the supermarkets, not just the dispensers, but even the packets. We will go and pick a packet of Bio, a packet of Brookside, a packet of Fresher, a packet of KCC, and we take it to our labs and we test it. We test for aflatoxin, we test for bacteria, we test for antibiotics, because sometimes the cow can be sick. It's injected with antibiotics and it is milked before that antibiotic has cleared from the cow's system. So we test for those, and we are very strict as government through the Kenya Dairy Board, which is the regulator for the dairy industry in the country. We test it, and if we find milk that is contaminated, one, we recall it, so we remove it from the shelves. Two, we trace it to either the processor or the farm, so that we can go and report that the producer is producing bad milk and what it is they can do to ensure that their milk is safe for human consumption. And many times we shut down outlets and we take people to court who we find selling adulterated milk. So we are very strict as government in terms of surveillance and in terms of enforcement of safe milk. The last statistic I saw, which was for May, about 89%, up from almost the lower 80s of our milk now is safe. We've done tremendous strides to ensure that our milk is safe. But that being said, it is across the entire value chain, from the farmer to the aggregator, to the processor, to the consumer, to the retailer, to government. All of us have a role in playing, in ensuring safe milk. And that's why we run awareness campaigns through social media, through radio like we are doing today, through TV, through farmer field days, and so on and so forth.
You know, when I'm listening to this conversation, I think we're all going back to our factory settings, which is, I thought when you boil milk, right?
Yeah.
Everything is good. And this is the question that one of our listeners here, Steve, is asking. He says, what if I buy the milk from a farmer directly, but I boil it? Is that safe?
Boiling the milk might reduce some of the bacterial count, so it might kill the bacteria.
Yeah.
But the milk is already contaminated, so you won't get the nutrient value from it. Boiling the milk will not get rid of things like aflatoxin, which comes from the animal feed that the cow ate. Aflatoxin causes stunted growth in children. It causes cancer in human beings. So we need to ensure that any aflatoxin-laced milk doesn't even make it to the consumer. It gets discarded at source, because once it's in the milk, there's no way to get rid of it. So that's why we do testing with lactometers at the point of the milk coming from the udder of the cow, to ensure that if we find any of those contaminants that cannot be cured by either boiling or pasteurization. Pasteurization is the same thing as boiling, that is done at the processors to kill the bacteria. Then it is discarded at that point.
And about the lactometers, is it something that the farmers can be given? Because I'm actually thinking of a point where now, what if the farmer is the one with the cow, and then now the farmer is being told, the fact that you have the cow, you milk the cow and then give us the milk and then you buy it back from us again. Is it possible for them to actually test the milk that they have for their own consumption, like if you want to use it in the house?
Nothing stops the farmers from having a lactometer. They are also expensive pieces of equipment, but if the farmer can afford those, by all means, they should. We also now are updating our dairy bill to ensure that we tighten the laws and the regulation around milk, just for food safety issues. So the bill that we currently have now, or the act that governs milk, the law that governs milk in our country, is from 1957.
Oh, wow.
So we have come up with a dairy bill, 2024, that is industry-led. So we've brought in all the industry stakeholders to ensure that we not just have safe milk, but we can have enough milk for trade. We want to really expand the dairy sector, not just for local consumption, but increase manufacturing of high-value dairy products, your yogurts, your cheese, your butter, and also, but also for export. There's a lot of countries in Africa that don't produce milk that we can export to and create many, many jobs through this dairy industry. So we have the dairy industry bill that's coming through. Actually, just next week, we have the National Dairy Conference, which is on the 19th and 20th of June at Nakuru ACK Show. Which will be officiated by the Deputy President, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, Riggy himself. And we will be talking about how to really just expand this dairy industry, which is a priority value chain within the bottom-up economic transformation agenda.
For a consumer who's had this conversation and seen, all right, there's a lot being done from the stakeholders, from the farmers, from government, right? And I'm sitting here going like, if I spot something and I think it's suspicious, like I've bought a packet of milk and I feel like, this milk, something is off, right? How do I go about and letting the authorities know that there's something wrong with this milk?
You'd need to get in touch with the Kenya Dairy Board, who have officers around the entire country, and just report that to them. They should be able to take action immediately, because like I said, we have surveillance teams around the country, or report to any of the authorities. You know, as a whole of government approach, we take a multi-agency approach. If you recall, it was highlighted in the media a few months ago where we were doing a crackdown on fake imported milk powder. So we are working with the DCI, KRA, NIS, National Police Service, and ourselves as a Ministry of Agriculture to intercept crooks who are importing fake milk powder, turning it into milk and selling it to unsuspicious customers.
What is fake? What does fake? Sorry, what does fake powdered milk look like? Like, as in,
it looks like milk powder, but it has ingredients that are not only contain milk. So they add other ingredients to reduce the quality and to make money out of it. Dang. But we've been able to intercept several of those in go-downs in Isili and many other places, arrested people, taken them to jail, and that has really acted as a deterrent, and now we are seeing almost no cases of the same. So government is vigilant and very, very serious in enforcing to ensure that we control food safety.
But Piers, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us this morning, educating Kenyans about the safety of milk and the work that's being done. And I honestly I never imagined that there'd be something like aflatoxin.
Yeah.
And antibiotic resistance just from consuming milk.
Yeah, man.
Lazima tukue rada. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me.
Guys, we're about to tell you what's happening on the roads. Do keep it right here. You're on KISS.